Hello, welcome to Staring Down the Storm, Autism Advocacy in America. I'm your host, Tabitha Ziegler. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. I have a very interesting guest for you today. I'm going to let him introduce himself. Go ahead, Carlos.
Hi, everybody. I'm Carlos Gomez, a.k.a. Coconut Justice. I create content for the internet and use all my powers. My background is in advertising, design, and programming and all that stuff. So now, instead of forcing myself to fit into corporate America, I decided to start my own thing and use my powers for good.
I was hoping you were going to say that.
And that's where I started a podcast, and I started talking to grassroots candidates that are running for office, whether locally or nationally. And that's how I met Tabitha, and we became like hand in glove. Our friendship is easy.
Well, I think it's interesting that we're both from the Midwest, and people often think that Midwesterners, depending upon which city or which state, are like soft people. And we know that's not true.
That's not.
So off the record, we talked about a lot of stuff that is like, oh yeah, that's very Midwestern.
Yeah. And even on the record, you can, if you go back, if you guys go on my channel and take a look at my episode with Tabitha, it always takes about 2-3 seconds to get into that groove, but we found our groove super easy.
Yeah.
And then you could tell, like, we got comfortable with each other. We were cussing people out.
And I kind of felt like I was holding back. And so, coincidentally, now I'm no longer a candidate, though I did place second, which I think was pretty crazy considering.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you.
That's huge. But
considering everything, right? Like, I came in late, had no experience, never did it before, all the things, right? Which is a common thread that we're seeing, which is lovely in these candidates.
Yeah.
I'm loving that.
Yeah. I think America is tired of career politicians, and nothing changes.
Right.
Nothing changes. For the 54 years that I have been walking this planet, well, it might have taken me a little bit.
Right.
53 years, we'll give my first year on the planet some grace.
Right.
But nothing has changed. We complain about the same stuff. And I'm ready to complain about new stuff. We need new people.
Yes. Well, let's complain then.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay, so give us a little bit about your background, first of all.
All right. So my early childhood was, I was born and raised in Chicago and spent some time in the third biggest city in Illinois called Rockford. Just because, the Chrysler plant just outside Rockford was hiring people, and a group of Cubans went out to Rockford for that job. And then I joined the military. I like to tell this story. It's super fast. I was walking home from high school in Chicago, and a recruiter said, "Are you tired of being poor?" And I said, "I am."
Yes.
So I joined the military because he told me, you're going to have all these benefits. You're going to have health insurance. You're going to have the ability to buy a house. You're going to be able to travel the world. And growing up a poor kid with less than nothing, like, that sounded intriguing. I get to travel? I thought that was only for rich white people. So I got to traveling, and after service, I've moved around, went from Chicago to Miami, back to Chicago, down to LA, back to Chicago, back to, but I while in Chicago, I got my 2 degrees. I got a degree in advertising, and I got a degree in filmmaking and animation. And if you are anywhere in the city of Chicago, you probably heard about Leo Burnett. It's one of the largest advertising agencies in the world. So it was a bit of a dream come true working for Leo Burnett, and that environment was good for my brain. My brain loves taking in information, and it loves creating things off of the information, right? So that was, and it was fast paced, and all you did was work, and I love working. To the detriment of my body sometimes, but I just love working. And then I kind of got burnt out. I was tired of working on projects for tobacco and alcohol, and ever since a kid, I wanted to make movies and animation. So I moved out to LA. I lived in Hollywood doing all the things, and I was more of a multimedia person. Multimedia fits my brain better, so I was able to do everything from programming to illustrating to animating to programming. I think I said that already. All those things just fed my brain so I was in heaven. I was working myself to death, working up to 100 hours a week, but it fed my brain, and it made me feel, it gave me something to wake up to, Right. But then when you get burnt out, you're like, all right, well, this sucked. I love LA, but I never really fit in LA.
Yeah.
And there's an investment in time that everyone tells you about. You just have to stick it out for 5 years. You just have to stick it out for 7 years. And I'm like, no. So I moved up north. I live just north of San Francisco. I did a lot of work in Silicon Valley, a bunch of startups. It's startup culture out here. So that also feeds my brain. I love building things from scratch. I got into making sourdough bread before it was cool. Before COVID, I was making bread. And that's in my blood. Come to find out, my grandfather was a baker in Cuba.
No kidding.
Yeah, before they had to leave. Thanks, Fidel. So yeah, I make my own bread. I grow my own weed. I like doing things from scratch. Yeah. So the startup culture also feeds my brain really well. But then what we find out is out here, the companies, it's a lot like what we're seeing with the agriculture. They go and they get illegal folks to do the work because they're cheaper. Same thing is happening here. Instead of growing things, we're building things using technology, but they stopped hiring Americans because it's too expensive. And so instead of rolling up in a ball and crying about it, I started my own thing. And so now I feel more fulfilled. It's lonely. I'm in this room a lot by myself. So when I get to talk to you guys, it's kind of like, my peek into the real world, and we get to figure out things like what can be done to fix this country. And that's when I started using my powers for good.
Yeah, I think that's why I got into podcasting too, though, as we spoke about previously, that was never the intention. I didn't have a background in that or anything, but I had a friend, and this friend believed in what I was doing. And then this friend was like, hey, I'll help you. And I think because of that sort of pattern and the fact that I'm a humanist and all the things, now I also am like, right, how can I use my powers for good? So this is just one of those avenues. And I find that I am an extreme truth teller, which I think you share. And also,
I am addicted to fairness.
Yeah.
And if you're acting a clown, someone needs to let you know that
Yeah.
what you're doing is detrimental to the bigger picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it certainly gives some good perspective, being that we both have traveled pretty extensively. Like for the listeners, just a reminder, like I was a flight attendant for 17 years. So
cool.
I've also like bebopped all over the world, speak different languages, though my languages are rusty at this point because now I have small children. So I'm also isolated like you. And, being in the autism space and neurodiversity space, yeah, that tracks, don't you think? That you have like these creatives that, maybe are late diagnosed like myself. I mean, I'll let you tell your own story that way, but I find we sort of like gravitate towards one another in some capacity. And that's what's really awesome. I mean, that is probably one of the most valuable things that I've gotten from the candidate process, besides getting to meet people, having these conversations, trying to force change, all these things. But I've had the opportunity to meet some really, really cool people. And of the cool people, my radar is a bit different because I'm a humanist and because I don't care about all that other shit. And I'm like, right, like Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, and all the rest of them can go suck one because I'm over it.
A fat one.
I'm over it. I'm like,
So before I go off on them, I have to give mad props and so much love to my little brother. My little brother from another mother.
right.
C4 Explosives is his rap name, but Mike Stringham, we've been friends for like 25 years. And my channel, when I started a podcast, I was drawing and talking to my friends. That's all I was doing. And then Mike reached out to me. He had written a song that was politically motivated.
Yeah.
And he wanted a music video. So he reached out and we worked on that project together. And I said, well, I'm talking to my friends. Let's talk about your rap career in this music video on the channel. And he said, yeah, cool. So then we had that conversation. And then he said, do you mind if I reach out to people to have a talk? And I said, yeah, find them. So he came back with Cliff Cash, the comedian.
I love that guy.
And this is something that nobody else knows. And I don't even know if Mike
So we're
knows
breaking
that
ground
I figured
here.
it out. Yeah. I'm not even sure that Mike knows that I figured it out. But Mike is a go-getter. He works so hard, and he's such a good-hearted person. But he didn't tell me that Cliff Cash was coming on to. I just knew a comedian was coming on. I wasn't tapped into this.
So he
world
sneak
quite
attacked
yet.
you.
Yeah.
That's
And I was like,
hysterical.
all right, cool. So then after that, like we got Sergeant Rhodes came on. Once Sergeant Rhodes came on, I saw what he was doing, what Sergeant Rhodes is doing and everything. So I'm like, all right, cool. Here we are. This is the path. This is how we make a difference.
Right.
So yeah, it's mad props to Mike. He's trying really hard to be a good husband and a great father. So that's why he's not always on the podcast. But
Yeah.
it's I can point to my conversation with Mike where he said, "Can I go find some people to talk to?" That's when the derailment is the wrong. That's where the focus changed. And then once I met Jen Johansson, boy, she reached out. Jen reached out to me, and it's just been turbo ever since.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, mad props
Well,
to those guys.
That is how we got connected, actually, was Jen Johansson, because I was in the candidate group that she ran.
Yeah. She's so smart.
She is like the mastermind. She's like a good Pinky in the brain.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Let me tell you. When I know that I have friends like Jen Johansson, I have friends like Sergeant Rhodes, I have friends like Kevin Ryan, who ran for Senate in Illinois. And those folks are so smart. Me, a professional shit talker, that's like giving me unlimited bullets in this machine gun.
Well, for those of you, I don't know if you can hear my little goblins in the background, but I have 2 children that are at home with me right now while I'm recording from home at a desk that I have pressed against the wall with like a shit ton of toys on it the majority of the time. So my at-home setup is literally clean the desk off of all the toys, flip it around, put up a light real fast, put up all the stuff, and now I've also got 2 kids in the background. So if you hear any like wild monkey noises, it is the children. So if
I'm
this
doing
tells
laundry
you,
at the same time. So like maybe 5 minutes before we started recording, my whole room was shaking because right on the other side of that wall is a washer and dryer. And when the washer goes into spin cycle, things fall off my shelves.
But just to sort of paint the picture for people, like I think some of the people that are out here doing this advocacy work are like very much in the trenches, like very much making it work, building the plane as they're flying it, and they're doing it for no money because like for the cause sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I find that kind of advocacy very enticing because I'm that type of advocate. Like I need to travel in circles with people that, God forbid, if we are ever in a bad situation, like I know they will throw down, like 10 toes down, 100% every time. Like I'm just,
Mommy, AC.
you don't need to be on my computer right now. Okay, you go play. See, listen to that one. She wants to come and see. But you know, like I find it really enticing that you have this group of people that I'm starting to get to know that are like me in that way. And I'm like, oh, I thought it was kind of lonely. And it was very lonely out here because I'm from very rural Indiana, very, very red Indiana. And that's sort of how I started too. I was like, right, I'm pissed off. I don't like this stuff. This is bad. I have the foresight, I suppose, because of my autism and pattern recognition and all that, that I'm like, danger, danger, like big flashing light. So I'm out here in this tiny town in this red area trying to warn everybody. Like, you know, just, hey, pay attention. People are out here trying to steal your rights and stuff. And I would say 90% of the people are like, oh, don't be ridiculous. And unfortunately, I was right more often than I was wrong. And I actually hate that because I would have liked for that to have not been the case, right? But since it is, I'm like, well, damn it. I guess I'm just going to start ringing that bell. And I just got louder and louder and to the point where I was like, right, I'm going to start tagging the politicians and stuff. So I did. And I start calling them out. So I'm like tagging the senators and the reps and the governor and whatever. And eventually that led to running for Congress because I was just that pissed off. And I love to run into people that are doing the same sort of thing. And of the candidates that I've met and of the podcasters that I've met, I'm like, oh, there's a group of us. I think there's a bigger group of us than anybody has any idea. And we're connecting now.
Yeah. And I understand when people say social media is ruining kids and social media is ruining the country and all that. I understand why people would say that. But you always have to get through all the gobbledygook. There's new stuff. New stuff happens all the time, and you have to give it time for the people that leverage it the right way to leverage it the right way.
Yeah.
You're going to see dumb things. You're going to see kids doing dumb things. But then you get the people that care to actually start leveraging it and and now we're having adult conversations, and we're actually having conversations that are meant to solve problems and to bridge, to create these bridges to let folks know, I might be a little more tinted, I might be a little more toasted than you, but we all have the same problems.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Because essentially, if you're not rich, and I always call them my baby millionaires, because I think people, especially on the red side, because I'm from such a red area, they're like, oh, basically, like, don't be mad at the rich people that they earned their money and they did a good job. And I'm like, no. Like, there's a certain level of millionaire that is like, okay, you probably did a good portion of that on your own, and that's fine. Like,
Yeah.
whatever. We're talking about like this obscene amount of wealth that is poisoning everything that it's touching and dragging humanity down with it. And fuck those guys, basically.
Fuck those guys.
For sure.
And the way that I look at it is, because right now, I'm in California. I think we said that already, and we're like, my mail-in ballot is waiting for me right now. I just got back from a 2-week break, which I needed, but we're looking at career politicians running for governor, career politicians. So we have some wacky sheriff dude who's Trumpy and all kinds of stuff. We have a billionaire in Tom Steyer and all this stuff. So having to figure all that stuff out gets difficult. And having a podcast is helpful because I've been able to reach out to some of the people that are running for office in Northern California, even Southern California, and nationally, and getting more information from these people. And I tell everyone, come as you are.
Yeah.
Because if you hit me with this politician bullshit, I'm going to light your ass up. I don't want to hear.
I think we have that in common. That's why I think we got along so well right out the gate, because you're like, oh, my people.
Yeah. Like I don't want. Everybody says it. Everybody says that housing needs to be more affordable. Everyone says that we need equality. Everyone says that all the same stuff. I want to find out how. How do you think we're going to do this? How are we going to figure out why we put so much money into fixing homelessness, and in California, the money never really quite reaches the homeless? I want to figure that out. And unless you come with some solid ideas, I don't want to hear it. You know, I've talked to some folks that, well, because we've already done it that way. Yeah, but there's proof. We have proof that we need receipts. Where the fuck is all this money going to? And now we're starting to find out. Again, I don't hold any opinion on Israel and Israel.
Yeah.
They're wanting to exist. I understand wanting your homeland. I understand that. But how is that any of my business? I know for a fact there are little Puerto Rican kids, Dominican kids, Indian kids, all kinds of colored kids in the inner city of Chicago that have shit schools.
Yeah.
That's my main concern. We need to fix education, because in this country, we have so many dummies that are gullible. They keep falling for the same dumb shit.
Well, I'll tell you, this issue with education is serious. I was having a conversation with another candidate, not on the podcast, but probably will come on the podcast. I've got something cooking on the side that I'm sure I'll expose soon, but you're going to love it. You're going to love it.
For you.
Yeah. Because, I'm one of those. I'm always like, right, I always got something cooking. And it's generally
same.
always like for good, right? And
Yeah.
that's what I like about it. But like I feel like the millennials especially, like there's some of us that have been having this conversation recently where we have been walking in both worlds for a long time. And so it's like those of us that maybe could win, right? Awesome. Let's support them. Those of us that are now done, not wholly sad because there's still work to do. And then how do we do that? And a large part of it is education. And what I am seeing a lot from younger and older millennials specifically is if you are that type that are using your powers for good, you're trying to educate people
Yeah.
through civics. Like I just talked to someone the other day that's busy making like a video series to help with things civic minded, or they're starting podcasts, or they're like going out and doing like mobile libraries or whatever. Like there are a multitude of ways that you can get out and get activated. But ultimately, yes, it would be great if we could educate all of the adults. But some of them, I don't want to go as far as to say lost cause because people can always learn. But our focus should be on the youngsters. And if we can do a good job by them, then we can really sort of exterminate some of the problems that we have now by educating these kids.
Yep. That was one of the things that made me want to start my channel. Well, when I first started my channel, I was teaching people how to do things in Photoshop, how to draw, how to, do this creative stuff. I'm a natural born teacher. My family is, they're either doctors or nurses or teachers. That's like the family career path. I'm the one that decided, I want to get into making movies. I want to get into doing everything that I'm doing. That being said, that's why I started teaching. I started teaching creative stuff. And then I started getting into, before my conversation with Mike that turned into this, I was doing reaction videos. So I was reacting to music. But then I started getting into reacting to things like Schoolhouse Rock.
I loved that.
Because I wanted people to realize that when we were kids in the 70s, we were being taught how all this stuff works. And then in the 70s, I'm learning that it was in the 60s and 70s where everything started falling apart. Where they took away the fairness doctrine. The fairness doctrine was where if you had a TV program that leaned right, you needed to have perspective from the left. So that way you have fair and balanced coverage. And then that got deeper. And then I started reacting to more cerebral things like why are poor people poor? How do you fix? There was a video that I watched where they had a couple villages in Africa. They did a study. If we send in a team of people that is well funded to helping them rebuild, or if we just take this money and give it to the village and see what happens. And if you just give the money to the village, their improvement, I guess, happened faster and cheaper than sending in a team with money.
Because they know what they need.
Exactly. So those are the things that I was reacting to. And then obviously, I got into AI reacts to the Trump administration doing this and saying that and all this other stuff. So, it's easy to get amped up on that stuff. And then you get well versed in it, and then you realize that things are broken and it's not getting fixed. And now they sent if this was a video game, Trump would be one of the final bosses.
Speaking of video games, something that I would have never thought that I would have seen in my lifetime, I think is hysterical and very interesting, is Iran's usage of the Lego movies, like the little blips.
Yeah. Yeah.
They did a US on us. I was like, damn, like that's something I would have seen when I was a kid from like a comedian. And this is why people like Cliff Cash, I think, are of the moment, right? Because all they're doing is doing the same shit that they saw someone else do that fast track 30, 40 years into the future. It's now unacceptable because now we've actually gone backward. And I'm like, for those of us that are of the neurodiverse community, I think this is what makes us so dangerous, because we're like the canaries in the coal mine, and we can very easily see how all this stuff connects. We might not see it immediately, but once we catch on to what's happening, we're
Once we see the pattern.
shit.
Once we see that pattern. Yeah.
So how I started my social media, initially it was because, I mean, like everybody had a Facebook, right? And like before that, MySpace, that you just talk to people, you talk to your friends and stuff. But then whenever they start doing ads and all the rest, I was like, okay, well, I have a nonprofit. Well, I had 2 nonprofits. And so I'm like, let me then start up like some different social media for those things to kind of get the word out. And then the world started to fall apart. And I was like, how can I help? Because I'm always like, how can I help? And I'm like, here I am, this like single mom with 3 little disabled children in the middle of nowhere, but how can I help? And so I just start watching all this different stuff. And I'm like, okay, that's good. That seems like that lines up with that. And then I'm just constantly putting it out there. So on my Facebook or on my TikTok or whatever, I would either download other people's videos to just repost them, you know, tagging them, of course, giving them recognition, but just like, right, watch this. And I just kept doing that with like TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, whatever. But it was my way of trying to create a stream of what I thought was good information to open that crack a bit more. Like for the people that were interested, like watch this one, and then that one. Because I saw what Fox News was doing in my area, for example, and I could very clearly see what was happening. Yeah. And I'm like, we need to combat that. So then a bunch of us got together and we were trying to decide, like, how can we combat this in Indiana? Because there wasn't really, like, anything. And a few of us got together and built something called the Progressive Indiana Network. And I kind of stepped back from that when I started to run as a candidate. So I don't have a lot of involvement in that now, but it's still up and going. And then they started interviewing candidates and all these different things. So it's just interesting to see how when people start to try and activate in some capacity for good, they're like, right, I'm not quite sure what I can do, but I want to do something. And if you keep putting it out there in the universe, eventually you're going to find your people. And you may not make the biggest dent immediately, but if you just keep following that path, like something's going to happen.
That's with everything. That's with everything, right? I tell people, if your life is not where it needs to be, and this is your life in general, not even politically speaking. Right. If you pick the point where you want to be, and all the decisions that you're making is to service that point where you want to be, just keep your feet moving. Keep making the decisions that get you there. And eventually you'll get there, you know?
Well, and not to say, just for clarity though, because I'm sure there are people out there thinking like, oh yeah, that sounds really easy. We're not saying that we didn't make mistakes along the way. Like, plenty.
And that's just it. Like you can't let all that stuff. That's all that stuff is noise. All that stuff is noise. Listen, it's not. Depending on what it is that you want to do. If you're running for office, it might not make sense to people why you're doing it. You know, when we were doing social media for our episode together, there was a bunch of people saying, "Oh, now we're giving a platform to autistic community." I'm like, yeah, because they're here.
Yeah.
Because they're here. And I feel like they need to be heard from.
Yeah.
It's not that difficult. When you let someone else's voice get silenced, your voice will inevitably be next.
Of course.
That's
it's
that's
just
how it
just like the poem, right? Like first they came for the unionists, then they came for the communists. Eventually they always come for you.
Yeah.
And I think that's why you do have certain people right now that maybe they had never heard that poem before. Maybe they've heard some variation of that, you know, in their own language, dialect, region, whatever. There's always something out there that someone is saying to that capacity, right? And the people that are doing bad things, they have bad intentions. Like, we need to stop making excuses for them. You know,
Yeah.
it's like rape culture, for example. Like, I put a video out recently because I'd seen a lot of this stuff happening, and it was after the global Samud flotilla. And I have my points like that where, like, I've had enough. And sometimes the accumulation of media that I've seen or whatever just percolates in my mind to the point where I can come up with a decent video about it. But I recognize there's always a balance, right? And so right now, it's so easy to be like all or nothing. And I feel like that's where we're really going wrong. So I was essentially saying, hey, if 91 to 99% of the people doing the abusing happen to be men, then it makes good sense for those of us that are trying to fight those things to get those men, the good ones, to join us, right?
Yeah.
Like, join forces to cumulatively fight this problem.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if we do this in an effective way, we could potentially stomp that out for the next generation. Like, guys need to see other guys that look like you, that are from a community.
Yeah.
They see a connection, right? Like, it does me no good necessarily to go into a Cuban community or a Puerto Rican community and me say certain things. But if you did it, they might be like, oh, okay.
Right.
And we, on all aspects, like, that is just one particular thing. But because we're a melting pot of people here, and because there's so many white nationalist, racist, bigoted assholes that are busy trying to, like, I mean, the very small percentage of the population that want to seem like the majority, which they are not, that it doesn't matter what the other is, they hate you. Like, you can be a gay, a lesbian, a trans, a black, whatever. Like, if it's other, they don't like you, and their goal is to either make sure you have no rights or exterminate you altogether.
Yeah. They don't want to be told. They don't want to be told what to do with people that don't look like them. They feel like I've worked really hard in my life to not be poor.
Sure.
And now I get to hang out with people that aren't. And so when I look at white culture, or, you know, these folks that are afraid of a brown planet, of a black planet, what they don't understand is the folks that hang out with Trump, none of those guys like you. They don't want you around. If you're not about that money, they don't want you there.
Yeah.
I'm about that life. So they accept me and they know that I'm here and I work hard. I'm about that money.
Yep.
And unfortunately, everyone looks at money as success or as influence or whatever. That's the gauge that everyone has been using. I think it's wrong. But if that's the game that we have to play right now, I can play that game.
Sure.
But the mentality that it takes to hate because you think that you're a part of this group that has money just because you guys share the same skin tone, that's not it. I'm accepted into that community. There's a lot of folks out there that don't get invitations to some of the parties that I get to go to.
Right.
See what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying.
Not that I'm getting it. I'm not getting invited to Mar-a-Lago.
Thank God. I mean, like there's a certain level of money. I mean, let's just face it.
I'm never going to be that thirsty. I'm never going to be that thirsty.
Well, you know what happens when a person becomes that thirsty? It becomes a disease. And then they start making excuses for the type of things that we're seeing now, like the Epstein files. And money I mean, I'm not Catholic, but I have to say I'm loving this new pope and I'm loving that he's from Chicago and it shows.
Chi-town all day, baby. The
For
Chi
sure.
represents every time the world is falling apart, you need to call someone from Chicago to fix the shit.
Yes. Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
The world is falling apart. We got Barack Obama. He put it back together. I'm not saying he's the best president ever. There were some decisions made that were questionable. But when you're playing that game and you have rich people's hand up your ass, there's some decisions that need to be made.
Well, I will say this. I think that there's a certain breed of person that comes from the Midwest. And right now, there are plenty of people that are probably going to be disagreeing with me. I don't know if it's the mixing of many different cultures with working class people. I'm thinking that's what it is. That then also filtered out, right? So like people left the Chicago region. Like my family's been from Indiana for a long time, but my grandmother's family came from the region. And I do think there's a certain type of work ethic that really does supersede the rest of the bullshit, right? Because it's like, it does, at the end of the day, people from the Midwest will throw down. Like, do not let them for once. If you walk into a room, I mean, I'm just going to like make it comical, right? I'm guessing. If you walk into a room with someone from like Chicago, rural Indiana, rural Iowa, Detroit, rural Minnesota, something like that. If push comes to shove and a fight breaks out, they're going to be like, okay, we're in this together. And it won't matter, red, blue, purple, whatever, because these people will be like, right, we're basically the same. And if you think you're going to come in here like that, like I always tell people, I'm like, one thing that I have really liked that I suppose was also intentional because I'm this way, but I do like that when people speak about me in rooms that I'm not in, right? The consensus is generally always the same. Tabitha is authentic. She is reliable. God help you if you cross her or her people. And I actually think it's very true. And I like that I have that reputation because it's like, I'm a friendly person. I'm a Taurus. I'm an earth sign. But God help you. And I think that's sort of kind of what the U.S. is as a whole right now. It's like, you can only pull that tiger by the tail for so long until it bites you. And the U.S., I think, it's in a rise up moment. And there's going to come a day very soon when the 342 million of us realize that we outnumber like the handful of people that are trying to suppress us, oppress us, however, and like the skin color and all the rest of it is not going to matter. And that's why they're building their bunkers right now.
Right. And we're starting to realize just how much power we do have. Because look at what happened with Target. Target jumped on crazy. We shut that shit down. And they're like, okay. We have way more power. Again, change is easier than we think. It's just not all of us are on the same page.
Yeah.
You know?
But for those people, right, that think that you can't affect change, Target is a perfect example.
Yeah. Yeah. The Black Lives Matter, not the organization, but the movement itself. It woke a lot of people up to the brutality that my community and the Black community have been dealing with forever.
Yeah.
And now you can see, when I was a kid, we were telling people, hey, the police are fucking us up. And then everyone was like, well, what were they doing? What were you doing?
Yes. Yeah.
I wasn't doing anything. I was driving while brown.
Right.
And then we're starting to see, and now we're starting to get more teamwork effort from more of the white community.
Yeah.
Because the white community knows that that's bullshit.
Well, I think, because see, I'm from one of those communities, right? Where like you didn't really understand it per se, but you were taught that it's more of like a respect for authority rather than the boot on your neck sort of thing. So no one really told you. And if you're not from a community that's mixed, like I was not, if you don't get to see it on the regular, right? Like it's sort of like out of sight, out of mind. You don't know, whatever. And I do think there's something to that, because initially everybody was like, well, like what's actually going on? Especially like very rural communities are like, why are people rioting in Chicago? Like what's actually happening? You know, because they didn't experience that. And I think between Black Lives Matter, COVID, flash forward to like Israel, Palestine, all the things.
Yeah.
We're now approaching this level of wokeness, awareness, whatever you want to say, where it's like, and this is not a knock to the disability community in any capacity. I'm just trying to paint a picture for you. It's like you have to be blind and deaf at this point to have not had enough examples before you that don't make it obvious what is happening here. It's like very, very obvious now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, out here, I live pretty much in the country. I live in wine country. So everyone that lives here is a farmer, you know, grape grower, whatever.
Right.
We have cows, dairies. We have all the things, right? So it's very rural. I was going somewhere with that. So it gets, you know, it gets red. We even have a bunch of Trumpers and stuff like that. And then you can tell when someone has been watching Fox News, because they come and, you know, and I like to think that I am approachable. I like to think that people, whatever you believe, you're
like the friendly neighborhood brown guy.
Yeah.
Until
the token.
until they say the wrong thing.
And even if you say the wrong thing, because that's happened too, where they come and they say, oh, because blah, 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 and just keep your hands on 10 and 2 and all this stuff. Yeah. And I say, I have been pulled out of a police car for making a left-hand turn into the wrong suburb. I have been pulled over by cops and pulled out of the car. My hands are 10 and 2. Yeah. I've done all those things. And if you know me, you know I'm not a troublemaker,
Right.
but I'm also not
You're
afraid.
also from Chicago.
I'm also from Chicago. I've seen some things, so I'm
Sure.
not really afraid
Different
of
life
a lot
experience.
of things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Between growing up in Chicago and the military, I'm
Right.
not afraid of many things.
Yeah.
So I explain those things to them, and they say, "Oh, wow. Like, that happened to you?" Yeah. Stop listening to those idiots.
Yeah.
Just stop. They're filling your head with dumb shit that it does not make sense. Most of the black and brown community that I grew up in, most of those people go to church
Yeah.
multiple times a day.
Right.
Multiple times a day. So how would sending a multitude of police officers to go rough up that community, how does that make sense to you? When
Yeah.
all people want to do is go to work and go to church.
Go got my house.
Yeah.
You know? So
Yeah.
it's just, it's this misconception that happens. And
Well, I think ultimately what it is too, like for the white folks out there, right, is like if you have a friend, even one, even a person in your community that is brown to some capacity,
yeah,
now is the time to activate. Like now is the time to show these friends of yours that you are
that you
trustworthy.
care. And
Yeah,
that you care, yeah.
that you can activate for something other than yourself.
And to the black and brown communities, I will say, stop questioning your blessings. We have white folks that really do care. And I understand that white folks have a spotted history, and it's,
Sure.
where everybody's got those. Cops get sent into our communities because of drug dealers and stuff like that. Well, unfortunately, we have drug dealers and stuff like that. And then, I mean, cops get sent in and they're not, they're on high alert already because of all the dumb shit that they've been told.
But then
But
you
when
get
we have
cops
white
like what
folks-
happened, like did you hear what happened in North or South Carolina? Did you hear about that child pedo ring that they cracked?
Oh, sweet Jesus.
I know. You can't keep up with all this dumb shit. But when we're talking about dumb shit and police officers, right?
Yeah.
Just to say, you cannot just say, oh, hey, this drug dealer from the black community, when we're constantly finding out these white preachers, these white police officers that are running pedo rings and, prostituting people out the churches and all this crazy shit going on.
And that's why they do it. They point to my community and say, look at what they're doing. Look at what they're doing. So they can get away with the same dumb shit that they've been getting away with.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, I didn't know I was going to tell this story today. So let's see
Okay.
how it unfolds. This is, if you question if you question the black and brown community, this is how I have seen it handled. There was a birthday party when I was a kid. I was there for a hot second, but this didn't happen while I was there.
Yeah.
I heard through the grapevine. This guy went down into the basement where the kids were playing, and he did dumb shit. He asked this little girl if she wanted candy. The little boy, her brother, saw it, ran up and told his dad. When this guy saw the little boy running upstairs, he took off running and he went home.
Yeah.
Well, a couple days passed. The dad went over to the guy's house and asked him to open the door, and the guy said, "No, nobody's here,
Yeah.
and I'm getting ready for work. No." So the guy finally convinced the pedo
Person.
to open the door. He took out a gun and took a shot and grazed him, just about killed him.
Yeah.
And then dude took off. The cops come to visit, They asked the pedo, do you want to press charges? He said no. And then he disappeared. He moved out of town. So if you have a question about how the brown, at least Cubans would fix this,
Yeah.
that's how I grew up. So when I see Trump's spiritual advisor getting 6 months for messing around with kids,
Yeah, that was a 12-year-old.
and then you're questioning my community,
Yeah.
you have a president doing the same thing, and you question my community?
Yes. There's a lot there. And I wasn't aware really that there was a name for what I'm doing. And I'm not saying that I'm any expert, but apparently there's a thing called deconstructing. And I think I've probably been doing that for years. I just didn't really know what to call it. And now that I've heard it, a word for it, and now I'm going farther down that path, I'm like, holy shit. And I would suggest all white people do that. Because once you actually start to read all the things that you're not allowed to read while they're busy like doing book bans and book burnings and all the things.
Exactly.
Like they only want to ban and burn the shit that they don't want you to read because it's
Right.
basically telling you everything.
It questions their authority.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I would have always considered myself a very eager student. Like I liked to learn and I liked to read and I liked the book reports and thumbing through the card catalog, prior to the computers and all. And even what I found back then on certain topics, I was like, oh, because I was like, I am of that era that like witchy things and the craft was popular. I'm of that era. So I was always super interested in like witchcraft and all of the things. And I was like, cool, interesting. Which then led me down the path of the Salem witch trials. And the things that I found out even there, I was like, oh, that is nothing of what I was taught. So if you just use that for an example, right? Just one thing. Let's say you pick something that you decided was interesting. And you decided to go down that rabbit hole, and now you know like a good deal about the Salem witch trials or whatever. Suffice it to say, if you go down multiple rabbit holes in the same fashion with all things race and religion related, it will blow your fucking mind. And there is a reason why a lot of theology students are atheists now, put it that way. It's quite shocking. And you can't even begin to scratch the surface of the horrible shit that was done to black and brown people for a very, very long time. And once you start to see the connections of things and then apply it to our government, for example, you see the world in a different light, and you can't put that genie back in the bottle afterwards. And this is why they don't want you to learn. Because if the general public, if Americans put as much effort into educating our young people, like Europe, for example, not to say that Europeans are the most educated, it is just an example. If we actually practiced what we preached, like being pro-life and actually wanting to take care of children, which means, their health care, their education, room and board, all the things. They don't want an educated public because it doesn't serve them. They don't want your white kid to learn about what they actually did in slavery times, as an example. So if they continue down this path of purposely trying to not educate you or your children, the burden falls on you to educate yourself and your children.
Yes. Dare I say that responsibility falls on your lap even before anything else?
Of course.
That's one thing that we also have to get away from is total dependency on what other people are trying to teach us and stuff like that. We have to, just like if you're not feeling good and something major is happening, you go to the doctor gives you his opinion or her opinion. Mm-hmm. You have to go get a second opinion, sometimes a third opinion.
Yeah.
That's the culture that we need to cultivate here.
Yeah.
Because we're finding out that someone who's attached to the Epstein files funded all the books that are teaching our kids all the bullshit that they're being taught.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like you have to double and triple check. You have to, that's how I do things. Like before I cement my stance on something, I go and I look at what Candace Owens is saying. I go and I look at what name some lefties. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It
Hassan
doesn't
Piker.
matter. Exactly. And then again, going back to our superpowers, we can see the pattern.
Yeah.
And we can call out bullshit. But we need to gather that information. Now, what I would like to see is, as much as they're investing in the Department of Defense, they need to do that for the schools too. Let me explain why. The first thing, well, they tell us we don't need a Department of Education.
Yeah.
Then why is it if we don't need to support education, then why is it that all these corporations then go to other countries that have invested in education to get the biggest and brightest, and they give them H-1B visas?
Yeah.
I was talking to Erica Kopp just last night. We recorded an episode, and we were talking about this and how it's ridiculous to think that we don't need to invest in education, and that they handed the keys of the school bus to the WWE lady. You are an unserious cabinet. And then you take money out of education to build a ballroom. You take money out of education to build this dumbass arch. You take money out of education to do all this dumb shit. And then what you do is you go to the other countries to hire people for cheaper that have invested in education. To me, that does not make any sense whatsoever. None.
Well, I actually think it makes perfect sense considering our history, which, like I said, I'm no expert, but once all those buttons start to click, right? And you're like, So America was essentially built on slave labor to some capacity from lots of people, whether it is Africans that they brought over, indigenous that were here, Native Americans that were here, the women that were not being paid, children.
The kids, yeah.
It is, you're seeing a trend with like rich, straight, white men. I'm not saying it's exclusive to that, but historically,
Right.
all lines sort of point in one direction. So I have another point with that. Like, it seems there's a resurgence of wanting to bring back the pressed, straight, white, rich male to represent us.
Yeah.
Either from either party, from all parties.
The Heritage Foundation is the manifestation of
but
those
not,
ideals.
Not just Republicans, right? Like in my state, there's a perfect example. Not that I am being critical. I am, but it's just because I see the world differently, right? Like,
And otherwise, if you're not being critical, this would be a boring conversation.
yes, I'm like, we need to think, like critical thinking, right?
Yeah.
And I'll try not to be restrictive to one race, but if you are starting to see a pattern in these races, in these political races around you, if your options are color or female or white male, why not roll the dice on another thing? Like, who cares at this point? Like, how much worse can it be to give the maybe, I don't know, like an example. I'm not talking about one particular race. I'm just saying, why not roll the dice on the 25-year-old black kid that has a fro? How could he possibly do any worse? You know, like, give these kids a shot. At least they care. And these younger kids, they're coming from a different generation that they've been fucked over by all the older generations. So they see a bit more clearly because they've seen that, like, hey, at this rate, I will be living in my parents' basement for eternity. And therefore, I really don't give a shit. Like, I don't want to work the factory job that's pulling in peanuts to live in my parents' basement. I would rather live in a camper or in a tent and, I don't know, like, hike the rest of my life or move to another country or whatever. Like, that is by design. Like, the rich people have once again become so greedy, much like the robber barons, where they have this insatiable greed. It is a sickness. And the only way to bring them back down to size is, first and foremost, even though we've got lots of thoughts on how to restructure the government systems and all, but even if we just start with not picking the person that other people want you to pick. I mean, why not? Why not fill the Congress or the state house with women? Why not fill it with young people? Why not fill it with black people, Hispanic people, whatever?
Full of dudes and they fucked it all up.
Exactly. And that is actually a more accurate representation of the U.S. population. So why not have that same representation in the spaces that are creating the legislation that is dictating your lives?
Right. That makes sense to us, but you're talking about a group of folks that have had power, don't want to let it go.
Exactly.
And because it's to their benefit.
Well, yeah.
But if you take a look at the cold, hard facts, everything white dudes have ever voted for is for them to be lazy.
Yep.
Right? Why would you ever mess with a kid? You're lazy. Right. You don't have game. You can't go pick up ladies. You have to go for the low-hanging fruit. And the ones that the other ones that rape culture that you brought up earlier, those guys, dudes that rape don't have game.
Yeah. Well, okay. So
if you have to work for it, the lazy will do the lazy things, and you're looking at it. Whether it's slavery is because white dudes wanted to be lazy. Today, with the people from South America coming here, even though we're destroying their homes, their home country, we destroy it. Our policies ruin those countries, so they come here because they don't want to be blown up. They don't want to die. They don't want to work for a cartel. They don't want to be chased after by gangs and stuff like that. So they come here. And then you take advantage of them because you're lazy. You don't want to put in the work. And another thing, these folks that say, oh, if you give universal basic income, nobody's going to be motivated to work. That's you, bitch. That's your trajectory. I have always worked. I will always work. If I have my basic needs taken care of, I will continue to build. I will continue to build and strengthen my community, because that's how I understand America is supposed to be. But it's you lazy motherfuckers that refuse to get your hands dirty. You refuse to do the work. And then you get, what's that little melon head? Stephen Miller.
Oh, Jesus,
when he gets on
that
TV, and I bang on this all the time because he's a moron. Stephen Miller says, you don't build anything. You have nothing but money and time, bitch. And you still haven't built anything. You haven't built schools. Trump hasn't built schools. What's her name? Linda McMahon. She was in charge of the schools, and she's tearing schools down. You guys are lazy. Your brain is lazy. It's all about me. Instead of it, and isn't it cool? Because we were talking about Elon Musk earlier. Isn't it cool that we can flip rockets and shit? If you were so smart, Elon, take a crack at fixing homelessness. Why don't we leverage? Why don't we leverage the banking system that we have, and install that shit into the government so we can see how you guys are ripping us off?
Yeah.
Tabitha can't write a check 25 cents over the amount that she has she has in the bank account. But yet we're letting these morons write blank checks for shit that we never asked for.
Yeah. I know.
But cool. We're flipping rockets. What's the I can't remember his name right now because I'm like, but he said,
because you're smoking.
My girl, my sister got bit by a rat, but Whitey's on the moon.
I know. Like, we have kids sleeping in tents on the street, and elderly that are getting tossed out of their houses because BlackRock is buying up all of these rentals. And
the people in charge are slumlords. The people in charge are slumlords. They don't give a shit that the apartment is falling apart. They don't care that the walls are leaking. Every time it rains, you got to put pots out. That's what America is. It's a slum, and the people in charge are slumlords. They don't care. Right. We need people. We need proper developers, and I'm not saying real estate developers need to be in charge of the country. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that mentality where what good is being the biggest and best country in the world if the shit's falling apart? I was just talking to Erica Kopp again. I was talking to her yesterday. She says
sounds like I should be talking to Erica Kopp too.
Listen, she's a good time. She's a good time. If you need that,
I always like a good time. Yeah, let's do that.
I'll make that connection. As a matter of fact, you, me, and Erica, we could do a round table.
Yeah, let's do it.
But she was talking about how in her district, she's running for Virginia 1, and in her district, they have a lot of really rich people that drive around on this busted ass bridge.
Right. It's like,
you don't want to go to work on this night on a nice bridge that doesn't break down. That's not going to make you white knuckle your way across this bridge.
Yeah.
It's crazy. They are proud to be in charge of slums.
Yeah.
And we can fix it.
It's a different mindset, right? And one thing that I am thankful for in my religious upbringing, because I am from the Midwest, we're talking about going to church all the time.
Preach.
Yeah, preach for sure. Like, everybody preaches in a different way, and you got a church on every street corner. But something I did learn, and I never went on a mission trip per se, but I know people that did, and like I was involved in Fellowship of Christian Athletes and all the things. I do think that I have a firm base in those type of principles because of the actual God teachings, like the actual what Jesus said, and this generation that they took to church all the time, that wore the WWJD bracelets and all the shit, and were leading church songs. Now they're angry at us because we're actually doing what Jesus said. And we're like,
And just
You
because I drop an F-bomb, they don't want to pay attention.
Yeah, I'm like, Jesus was flipping tables, like legitimately.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And never would have stood for pedophiles or
No.
like not feeding the poor and
Exactly.
not letting people come in that need a safe place to be.
Yes, ma'am. Taking the shirt
hyp-
off your back to give the person that doesn't
hypocrisy.
have.
I know.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
just
that's
crazy.
how I was brought up. That's how
Me
I
too.
was brought up.
Me too.
I was brought up
Yeah.
taking care of my neighbor. You'll see me. I'll go down the street and help an older lady because her thermostat has gone out,
Right.
or her stove isn't working. So I'll go over there, and that's the joke. Like all the old ladies in my neighborhood just love me. And I have a harem of old ladies because I make sure, like, there's a lot of them are living by themselves. So
Yeah.
there's some things that I'll come over and I'll take care of,
Yeah.
because I like thinking that I'm paying it forward, right?
Yeah.
Some of my favorite people, my heroes, are my mother, my grandmother. So I hope that people, my mom lives in Florida, so it's hard for me to, go and like fix all her light bulbs and stuff. But
Yeah.
I hope that there's someone there paying it forward without me having to say it, just because I'm taking care of someone else's grandma,
Yeah.
someone else's mom,
Well, that's actually how my first nonprofit got started. I don't know if I told you this. If I did, stop me. But whenever I was a mail carrier, I used to walk around and I was constantly noticing that like all the elderly or the people that had disabilities along my route tended to live alone, especially if they were older. And they weren't really ever getting any visitors. And I remember whenever I was a kid, everybody used to get together and like shoot the shit over coffee. So I started a nonprofit called Just a Cup of Coffee to essentially have a place where people could come together like they used to and talk.
That's awesome.
And I had to like step back from some of these things, but still have it. And I was thinking the other day, I was like, you know what I should do of all the hours in the day that I have, right? But I'm like, what we really need in this country is like a massive sit around the table like we used to coffee hour, and but truly for everyone. So
Yeah.
I think I'm going to start it up again, but I am going to be very clear that everyone is welcome. I always said that, but I very much mean it. Like, I mean, if you're a drag queen and you want to come in full drag, if you're trans, if you're a farmer, like, we need to be able to have that kind of space, like, legitimately, and be like, hey, if you were ever curious about what it might be like to have a conversation with a trans person or a black person, Hispanic, whatever, like, and you are open enough to have said conversation, and if you want change, come and have a coffee with us.
And listen, the majority of the people, I hang out with all those folks. All those folks that you just got done listing off, I hang out with all those folks. Why? Because it's a good time.
Well, yeah.
It's a good time. I don't understand the mental struggle that it takes to not be comfortable in your body, but I know for a fact that if I treated you like you had leprosy, and I know that doesn't make your life any easier.
Yeah.
I'm inquisitive. I will ask, and I talk, and I let people share their stories and all that stuff. So as long as whomever is in front of me, if you ask questions and I ask questions and we are having that dialogue in good faith, you're going to learn that everyone is cool as shit. Let me say not everyone.
Yeah.
You're going to have
Right.
assholes.
Of course.
Every community has assholes. But for the most part, it doesn't matter what part of the rainbow you pick. It's, generally speaking, if you come with a good heart,
Yeah.
nobody's gonna turn you gay. Nobody's gonna turn you trans. Nobody's gonna. I'm comfortable in my body, and thank God for that. But for the folks that aren't comfortable in their body, shitting on them is not the answer.
Yeah.
Not everybody understands me either. I have ADHD, and I am on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm running at 110. Full time.
Well, I have been officially
I don't make a lot of
diagnosed.
sense to a lot of people is the point that I was trying to make.
Yes. No, I know what you mean, because like I have been officially diagnosed with autism, but the more and more people that I talk to that have ADHD, I'm wondering if I'm not actually ADHD, because I see a lot of that too. And I think that there's something magical about a different perspective, right? And I guess that's what I've really learned through a lot of this stuff. Is like, I was also of that generation, like the freaking Left Behind series, that they scared the shit out of everybody, or they'd take all of us kids to go see like a mock-up abortion clinic, like the crazy shit, like the crazy shit. Meanwhile, while they're telling you just don't have sex, like we're not going to tell you anything about it, how it works, any of that shit.
Meanwhile, they're all fucking in the closet.
But just don't do it. But if one of the boys does it, that's ultimately fine. Like, because boys will be boys. But you girls, if you do it, you're a slut, and like nobody's going to want you. You're impure, blah, blah, blah. Like, I won't say that my particular family was like that hardcore with all of it, but I did know some people. I traveled in some of those circles, and I guess that's a lot of also why I'm so outspoken, because I'm like, listen, pray the gay away does not work.
It does not.
Conversion therapy does not work. You're hurting people. There's at least, I think, like 30% of the population. Like if you're autistic or in the neurodiverse community, there's a huge chunk of it that people are either like non-binary, non-conforming, whatever. They just see the world differently. And that's a thing. Like, that's not, oh, hey, if we put this kid in a camp that like magically we will, change them. We need to be able to have real conversations. And the last fucking thing we need is to have people in political positions creating legislation that hurts people. Like, I get it. I totally understand. People are always fearful of things they don't know. But rather than try and put someone, like put them away, institutionalize them, or what have you, why not try to just have a conversation? And you're probably going to find that you're more alike than you are different. And I'll go a step further to say, these are people's children. Like this trans person that you hate so much was a baby to a person that very much wanted them once. I can't speak for like all of the situations that, like, some of these parents, some of these families are shit. True. Some of them disown these children. But some of them don't. And some of them are from the Midwest, from these very red areas that are fighting like hell to protect their kids that ideally, when they got pregnant, all they wanted was a healthy child. They probably didn't expect to have a gay or a trans one. And then they did. So, like, just try and practice a little bit of compassion and know that much like green, brown, or blue eyes, you could equally have like a gay kid, a trans kid. It's a thing.
Yeah. Do you like honeydew melon?
Yeah. I like everything.
I hate it.
If it's food, I try it. Really?
To me, it tastes like vomit. Oh, I can't stand it.
Okay.
You take that, from what I understand, all the gay people that I've talked to, that's basically how it works. I can't explain to you why honeydew melon tastes like vomit to me.
I got you. Okay.
I just don't like it.
Yeah.
There's nothing I can do about it.
Right.
It's a preference.
Right.
Or, it's just something that I don't want it a part of my life.
So
if you just take that and extrapolate that someone's sexual preference is exactly that. It's the way that you're wired.
Yeah. And about the most horrible thing you can do to a person, honestly, is be like, just be this thing that you're not and be miserable for the rest of your life and force other people to be miserable with you because that makes other people comfortable. Like, wouldn't it be much better to have said person just be whole and be happy? And how hard would it be to just allow them to exist? Like, people are not asking anything from you. They're not like, hey, wouldn't it be great for you to sleep with me? No, like people aren't running around being like, hey, come sleep with me.
And that's the other thing, right? That's the other thing, right? Is the people that are, I don't care if you're gay, just do it over there. Like, gay people aren't asking to fuck on your couch.
It's true, though. I mean,
and what does their sexual preference have to do with? Can you file papers? Can you write an email that makes sense in a business atmosphere? Who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares? That your hate towards whatever community that doesn't click with your expectations, that speaks more about who you are as a person.
I think so.
Not
too.
anybody else. And listen, to the kids that might be listening to this, who might be uncomfortable in your own body and that probably aren't accepted, everyone ain't for everybody.
Right.
And sometimes your clan, it might be your family, but that's not your group. Mm-hmm. You have to find your group and feel comfortable in that group. And if it's not in Chicago, if it's not in the middle of Indiana, if it's not where you are, have enough courage to go out and investigate and explore where you can be yourself and where you can tap into the best version of who you are. I make movies. I write script. I'm an award-winning script writer. All these things. When I talk to my family about wanting to be a filmmaker, they just think it's a dream. And I'm like, no, I'm literally doing it. Mm-hmm. It might not make sense to my family.
Yeah.
I had to go somewhere where my vision for myself made sense. Mm-hmm. I tried Hollywood. I tried different places. But you have to go where you are understood. And taking your life is not the answer.
Yeah.
Before you do that, go somewhere else. Leave the place that's making you feel like that, and go somewhere where they will appreciate you for who you are. And it might be LA, because I've talked to people who are running for office down there, and they say, LA is the kind of place where you could be whoever you want, and no one is going to judge you in that way. That's why everyone thinks that California is full of fruits and nuts and all that dumb shit. Is because the mentality here is one of which whoever you are, as long as you're not an asshole, we have a place for you.
Yeah.
And that shit, and that's why people on the East Coast and in the Midwest, they talk about California in a bad way because of that stance. And going back to something that you said earlier, folks over there don't think that we won't toss knuckles in your direction. We will. We're not that soft.
I guess maybe that's what I always wanted, like the things that I'm building now, right? Because I am stubborn. Like, I am very much stubborn. And I'm like, I come from this place and my family comes from this place, and damn you guys for turning it. I mean, I'm not saying it was perfect. I'm not saying everybody did everything the right way, but there has to be some sort of salvation for these people that are other, right? Like whether it's trans kids or the black community or whatever, like there has to always be an opposition. There always has to be a resistance to this awful shit. And maybe that's why I'm still here. Maybe that's why I'm still in Indiana. I have friends all over the place, and I've been all over the place. I came back here purposely because I'm from here, and I think we're better and we can do better. That doesn't mean I'll stay here forever, right? But you know what I mean? I'm just saying as an example. So, yes, absolutely. Don't ever take your life, like leave. But for the adults in the room who may be listening, wondering what they can do, and if you're in a red area, for example, maybe create a space like that. Like create a space either in your home, in the community for the kids that need a place to go. Yeah. That are
and just
autistic.
Listen.
Yeah. Do something.
And just listen. Just listen. You don't have all the answers. Literally everyone is different.
Yeah.
Everyone is different. Chemical makeup is different. My brother and I have an older brother. We're the same recipe, same mom and dad. We're the same recipe. But we're different. We're different.
Yeah.
I'm the adventurer. I'm the one that keeps it moving. And he's my rock. Yeah. He's my rock. I know I can go out into the world and be foolish. I know it for a fact. I can go out and do all the things, but I know that I can go to his house and I will 100% of the time have a place to stay if I needed to.
I think that's I mean, I'm not saying all older siblings are like that. I would bet my brother would say the same thing about me. Like, yeah. I don't know where Tabitha is in the world, but if I needed a place to stay, I could always sleep on her couch. There's only two of us.
How many siblings? Oh, okay. And
I'm the older one.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm the older one. Yeah.
Oh, you're the older one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I was the middle kid. My whole life I had an older brother and a younger sister. And then, I have other siblings, but I grew up with an older brother and a younger sister. So I always thought to myself, there's nothing special about me. Biblically speaking, my brother gets everything. And then I'm not the baby. I'm not the only girl. I'm not the only boy, Right. So my whole life was like, oh, there's nothing special about me. Fuck it. Let's go out into the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah. 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 I do think there's something to be said for that whole older sibling thing. Like I was the older sibling and, the first one in my whole family to go to like actual college and like all those things, all this enormous pressure to succeed. Right. But my brother could have did totally fucked off and did whatever. And it shows, not saying that he's not responsible, but I would say even he probably would be like, I have always been able to do whatever kind of. And if I needed some sort of stability and it wasn't my parents, it probably would have been me. Yeah. And it could have been cool to know what it would have been like from the opposite perspective because I was always the older one, right? So I often wondered, what would it be like if I was the younger one and could fuck off and do whatever?
Yeah. Yeah. My experience is tainted because, the middle kid syndrome thing, it's a real thing. It's a real thing. And I know that a lot of it is in my own head. But at the same time, a lot of it, I learned to take challenging situations and turn it into motivation. Turn it into fuel.
Right.
being a kid growing up with nothing and not wanting to be poor. I take all those things and turn it into like a log, and I throw it into the fire of the steam engine that is my motivation.
Right.
And I just, every job that I didn't get, I started collecting when I found out that they're not hiring Americans anymore. I would apply for jobs, and I started collecting all of the thanks but no thanks emails,
Oh, right. Mm-hmm.
And then I thought to myself, why do that to yourself? Just build your own thing.
Yeah.
Build your own thing. All of those emails that I got back turned into another log in the build your own thing fire.
Right.
And it's hard to get there. You have to, it's a thin line between staying motivated and hating. Working as hard as it takes, being in this tiny ass room for as many hours as I have, applying for jobs, making animations, making films, doing all that stuff by yourself. It is a long and treacherous road, and it's lonely, and it's dark, and your back starts to hurt, and you get the little glasses that supposedly block blue light and all this. You start doing all the dumb shit. But you know that you can't stop. You can't. When you stop your feet moving, you might as well go work at some coffee shop with your hello, my name is name tag,
Yeah.
And there's bigger things that need to be done. There's bigger changes that need to happen. And then, what happens is you this is a good one. Don't focus on the end product of whatever it is that you're trying to make or do. Focus on the system that makes those things. For example, I was doing reaction videos because I was building my system of creating media. And then that turned into working with you guys. And that's turned into also, now I'm starting to get clients, paying clients, because I've built my system. All I have to do is take whatever you have, plug it into my system, and it'll spit out everything that we're expecting to spit out. I'm not worried about the end product until it's time to worry about the end product. I'm building my system. Focus on that. Focus on whatever it is that you're trying to do. Build the system. Don't build for one thing. Build for whatever your system can build. And then eventually you start talking to people like Tabitha and all these folks, and we're good.
Yeah.
I'm working a little less now because I focused on my system. I'm able to go outside and take my dogs for a walk. No stress.
Yeah, I was just going to say, now that I've branched out, like, it is always scary and hard to just step out and do something different, right? But once you do that, it's so liberating. And I would rather be poor now, right? Like, I don't think I'm compatible anymore with a normal 9 to 5. I think there's more important work to be done, and I'm happy to be poor for a longer amount of time while I'm building this thing that I'm building to eventually make some sort of positive change. And for anyone else out there that is like that, especially if you're young, right? Like, especially before the marriage, before the kids and all that, if you've got an idea and you think it's good, like, try and surround yourself with good people that encourage you. Go out on a limb. right now, if you don't have as much holding you back, do the European thing, like take a year off. Take a year off. Go backpack the world. Like, life
Yeah.
experience is so valuable. You never know who you're going to meet. You never know the connections you're going to make. But just don't ever settle.
Yeah. Especially if the thing that you want to do is create a podcast, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
The more stories you have, the better the podcast is going to be.
Yeah.
Go out and do things. I say this to everyone, as much whoever will listen. You have to put yourself in situations to learn yourself how you will react to said thing.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm trying to use myself as an example, but I thrive in difficult situations.
Mm-hmm.
It feeds my brain and it makes my brain happy when I have to figure difficult things out.
Yeah.
But doing those things, whether it's learning how to snorkel, learning how to scuba, learning how to hike, learning how to grow my own weed, learning how to make my own bread, learning how to make my own Cuban sandwiches. It makes me a more, I would like to think it makes me more of an interesting conversationalist to have all of these things that I've even if I just tried.
Yeah.
Versus, so I went to this restaurant once, and then I went to this other restaurant once, and then I went to McDonald's, and then I went to this other restaurant. Instead of, I was just in Tahiti, and on the island of Moorea, I hung out with the farmer who taught me how to grow tapioca. And
That's
he taught
awesome.
me how to take raw fish and put coconut milk and all the spices. And he taught me how to make coconut chips. And he taught me how to make breadfruit, how to cook breadfruit. I could have gone to the restaurant, but I didn't want to.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So,
Yeah.
so put yourself out there, if even just to see how your body reacts. It might not be your thing.
Mm-hmm.
It might not be your thing. I hate melon, but I know because I put myself in that situation.
Yeah.
Watermelon with tahini is delicious. But you have to put yourself in those situations and see how your body and you will be amazed at how much your brain and your body will can adjust, and will learn. And eventually, it's kind of like going to the gym. If you keep putting yourself out in difficult situations and letting your body and your brain figure out who you really are, eventually it turns into a routine, and it gets easier and easier and easier. And all of a sudden you're a mental bodybuilder.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, I actually think that's a great place to leave it because, I mean, what better place for two podcasters than to tell people, go out, experience the world, do your thing, don't let anybody else hold you back, and be your most authentic self.
And be a good person.
Mm-hmm.
Be a good person. Just the simple fact of being a good person will take you around the world and back.
I think so too. Well, for everybody that has forgotten and needs a refresher, what would you say? Because I ask everybody this.
Sure.
If you, who's Carlos, essentially?
Carlos is a guy who has been influenced by Jesus. Even though I have a controversial view of who he is, I think life is a game, and Jesus was Jesus is the avatar to how God would play this game if he were to play this game. But controversial because I don't give Jesus I don't exalt him as much as traditional religious people do. I have a poster of him, a mental poster of him. That's who I want to be like. But all eyes on God. God is the process of life and the rules to be a good person. So in efforts to be a good person, I reach out to people to see how I can help because I'm really good at talking. We're about to put 2 hours in and we could probably go for another 2. But I take that, I take my needing to be a good person into every conversation so we can figure out how to make this world a better place. We can do it. We keep giving the keys to the bus to these slumlords that are hot trash that don't care. Mm-hmm. And so by communicating with people like Tabitha, people like Jen Johansson, and other folks that are running for office that are trying to make this world a better place, I'm trying to help use my voice to amplify their voices in a nice, trying to be calm way, but you know, I'm Latino. Fire in the veins. So yeah, I'm trying to use my powers for good to make the world a better place. At the end of the day, that's what God asked us to do. And that's what I'm trying to do. Well, I agree with you.
If we could encourage as many people as possible to be the best version of themselves as possible, this world would change rapidly. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, Carlos, thank you for coming on today. I greatly appreciate it. Go ahead and drop all the links and contact information for people that want to get a hold of you.
Yes, ma'am. Coconut Justice everywhere. Everywhere. I'm not as active on Blue Sky, but I have Coconut Justice on Instagram, YouTube. Come check me out on YouTube. I got a bunch of videos. And I take on all comers. This is my right-wing nut jobs. Come talk to me. Help me understand like how tearing the country apart makes sense to you. Please reach out. Coconut Justice, Instagram, TikTok, X, Blue Sky, YouTube, all the things. Coconut Justice, coconutjustice.com. That's my store. If you go to carlosrgomez.com, that's where you'll see all my films and all my animations and the design work that I do, the creative end of my business. So
very good.
Thank you so much. It was fun being on this side of the microphone.
I was hoping you would enjoy it. You know, I knew we were going to have an interesting conversation. Here I had a list of notes, and I don't even know if we hit one of them, but I'm cool with that because I would love for you to come back. I think we've got much more to talk about, but, you know, we are 1:48. So I feel like that's enough for now. And then we'll come back and we'll have another conversation if you'll be willing.
Oh, 100%. This was fun. I loved it.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for having me on.
Well, I very much appreciate it. And, you know, I normally don't do this, but I need to get better about it. If you guys will like and subscribe to Staring Down the Storm, Autism Advocacy in America, I would greatly appreciate it. It will help us as well get all of the good things out there. So we'll see you guys next time.
Take care, guys.
We are at a pivotal point in American history. We do not have the luxury to remain silent. Programs are disappearing every day. We hope that this podcast raises awareness and sparks a sense of advocacy in you. We all can make a difference. The important thing is to start. See you next time.